Moment in the United States. Historic moment indeed. The last time we had this moment was in 1893 when Grover Cleveland returned as 22nd and 25th President of the United States. And now Donald Trump is faced with this same situation, 45th President returning as 47th President of the United States. Truly very historic moment. The triumph of Trump, the return of Donald Trump. Well, here we are. But joining us now from Washington, D.C., or is she in New York, is Arise International Correspondent Adefemi Akinsanya, who is on the ground. Well, Adefemi Akinsanya, tell us about this history that has just been made and the mood in the United States as you have seen it, observed it.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Rubin, and good morning to you all in the studio. Good morning to you all watching us. As we've just heard from almost nearly re-elected President Trump, it does seem as though he is definitely in the driving street. He is all but been confirmed the new president for the United States of America. Now, this is something that has definitely been touted as a historic win for Trump and J.D. Vance. He was on stage, flanked by his family, and he is inches away from reaching those 270 electoral college votes. He's now currently on 267, and some exit polls have given him Pennsylvania. We have spoken at length about the significance of the state of Pennsylvania. Whomever were to win it would be the next president, and it does seem as though Donald Trump has taken Pennsylvania. And while we are waiting for the likes of Michigan and Wisconsin and Arizona to declare, he is still leading in all of those areas and all of those states. So it's very likely that not only will he reach the 270 electoral college votes needed to win this election, he will go on to surpass that. This is definitely something that's going to come as a huge disappointment to the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's campaign. Earlier today, we were at Howard University, which is also here in Washington, D.C. It's Kamala Harris's old university, and that's where her watch party was. That's where she was planning to have her election night victory party, but clearly that wasn't the case. And when we spoke to you earlier, the disappointment in a lot of the people who were leaving the party, they did feel a bit dejected, but still we're keeping their hopes up. Now, some hours later, we can see that Trump is on the cusp of a historic re-election, and it's something that may come as a surprise to many. But if we go back to the people that we've been speaking to in Pennsylvania yesterday when we were there, and even some that we were talking to here in Washington, D.C., even though D.C. did go to Kamala Harris, it does seem as though it has been one that is a victory that has been welcomed by many. Donald Trump himself spoke at great length on stage, flanked by his family, his vice president, and other supporters. He did also give a shout out to Elon Musk there. So clearly this is a huge moment for him, for his campaign, and for the people supporting him. Now, looking ahead to the future, it will be interesting to see how the world rallies around this information, whether or not they were preparing for a continuation of a Democratic leadership in the White House, or whether or not they foresaw Donald Trump doing what he has done, which is become able to secure a second term, something that had eluded him 4 years ago. We will now be able to see what the rest of the world does, what mainland Europe does, what the United Kingdom will do, what Africa will do, what the rest of the world naturally will do, how they will respond. Other organizations such as NATO, how they will rally around him, being that they had been already preparing for the possibility of a Trump re-emergence. Now, if we cast our minds back to that assassination attempt on stage earlier this year, it was said that this was going to trigger a wave of consciousness, of popularity that could allow Donald Trump to ride back into the White House. And I won't say it's been completely smooth sailing for him. Once Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Kamala Harris replaced him, there was a lot of support and a lot of money being pumped in to this Democratic machine. And you can imagine that with this deflation comes with huge disappointment. Where did she go wrong? Which parts of the US electorate did she fail to strike a chord with? Was she able to harness women voters? Was she able to harness the vote of younger people? Was she able to reach out to enough men? It's not clear at this moment in what areas she has lost, but it does seem as though Kamala Harris's campaign clearly hasn't been successful. But as we go ahead to the coming moments, I guess a lot more eyes will be on where she went wrong. How is it that she was able to generate so much movement, so much noise, celebrity endorsements everywhere you turned, the likes of former presidents, Democratic and like coming together, joining her, other former Republicans again coming together to stand behind her, and that not translating to votes. This is what happens when it comes to elections. Sometimes it's not about how much noise you make. It always boils down to how many votes you're going to get. This is a popular vote and an electoral college vote, and Trump is leading in both. So clearly, when it comes to national dependency, when it comes to what the people of America want inside this country, regardless of what's happening around the world, they want someone to address the economy. They want someone to address rising food prices, rising fuel prices, and they believe, as we've seen so far in this election, that Donald Trump is the person to do it.
Very apt. So you asked some questions I'll just quickly try to answer. Where did Kamala go wrong? Number one, the Latino vote. Didn't come in as strong as it was supposed to be. In fact, when you look at the numbers Trump got from the Latino vote, the last election got about 8% of the Latino vote. Now, he's topped about 25% of the Latino votes. Also, black male votes didn't come in for Kamala. I mean, Kamala thought she was going to be able to ride the wave of the Democratic blackmail. But when you started hearing the voice of dissent among the Democratic blackmail, that we're not buying this, we're not buying this, they've never done anything for us, then definitely you know that that was going to come in. And that's why when you look at the areas she was supposed to outperform with blackmail, it didn't come in strong. Also, I'll try to dial back to the case of Georgia. I mean, we didn't see the big push of Stacey Abrams like the last time in Georgia. We cannot forget the role of Stacey Abrams working so hard to deliver Georgia, even if it was a small margin, you know, to the Democrats, and how the likes of John Ossoff in the Senate seat in Georgia did do well and just, you know, skimmed through the line. But this time around, we didn't see that big push in Georgia. And when that Georgia wall did fall, then I knew it was going to be a problem, you know, for them. Also, over the years, the Democrats have not been able to consolidate on Wisconsin. If you go back to the 2016 elections, Wisconsin was always a safe seat for the Democrats. In fact, I'll tell you a joke. It was so safe that Dukakis won Wisconsin. That was how safe it was for the Democrats. Imagine Dukakis winning a place. Dukakis was one of the most appalling Democratic Party presidential candidates in a while. But since Trump, you know, edged into that Wisconsin vote, it's been very, very, you know, flippant, I should use the word. So he went for that Wisconsin again, campaigned hard there, gotten there. Also Pennsylvania, the rural areas of Pennsylvania came through. Yes, Kamala got a big vote in Philly and some other counties like that, but the rural votes came in. And
yes,
in fact, we should study this, the Trump phenomenon, the rural America phenomenon. So when you look at that, and also something very interesting, for the very first time, there was a projection that Trump might be the first Republican in over 30 years to win the Miami-Dade County. That's to show you that the Miami-Dade County is known for a lot of...
A very black county.
Very, very black county and all that. So that's to show you that, and also, when you look at it, very Latino-heavy county.
And Latin.
So that's to show you that to a large extent, that black and Latino vote also, you know, didn't do well. And also, one thing we didn't also look at from the last election is that even when Biden won in the last election, when you look at the county-by-county analysis, Trump, out of the over 3,000 counties in America in this election, Trump won the popular vote in well over 2,000 counties in the last election against Biden. And Biden just won the popular vote in over 500 counties. So he's been able to win more counties and the rural votes in these counties, and all of that came true for him. What he has also consolidated on this time around is the popular vote, which he's going to win by a margin of maybe 3 to 5 million when the final numbers come in. And he's been able to consolidate on that stretch, pick up the smaller states, the states that they, and also probably we should now go back to the polls. This reminds me of the 1948 election with Harry Truman, when all the polls says, oh, Truman was going to win. In fact, Truman thought he was going to win. A newspaper had printed that Dewey defeated Truman then. But it went again that the polls were not correct. So obviously, when Trump took Iowa, probably the polls that came out of the Des Moines Register in Iowa probably were not correct. So probably we should also check the polling system. And I think I constantly said on the show that when the race is neck and neck, I will always give Trump a +5. Maybe I was right on that. Because you always have the silent majority, which comes out of the rural areas, and definitely will give all the votes, to Trump.
All right. Wow, what a fight. What a fight, what a fight. Hugely entertaining. Had us all, gasping for air, not sure what was going to happen next. But one thing you cannot take away from Donald J. Trump is he is such a resilient man. He fought tooth and nail against all odds. When you look at the statistics of negative publicity in legacy media, reporting on Trump in legacy media, when I say legacy media, obviously I'm talking about television stations, newspapers, and so forth. 89% of the narrative you heard about Donald Trump was negative, whereas 85% of what you heard about Kamala Harris was positive. So he fought against the system. Now, that's why, you saw him thanking Elon Musk. Very big conversation to be had there, because if you remember the first time he won the presidency, everybody spoke about the Twitter phenomenon and how he made Twitter relevant for politics during that election. And so I was saying my own conspiracy theory is that I'm pretty sure Donald Trump and Elon Musk came together and orchestrated the purchase of Twitter into what is now X, because Elon Musk and X became a massive platform. Remember the interview they had, which had, I can't remember how many millions of live viewers, but it broke so many viewership ratings. So, a calculated strategy, a strategic way. He always has a plan, so you can't take that away from him. Now, looking at Kamala Harris and the Democrats, I think one of the biggest obstacles for them that they placed for themselves is when it was decided that Joe Biden wasn't going to take the Democrat ticket. I think it should have gone to, it should have been a party consensus. The new candidate should have been a party consensus. So, we can't run away from the fact that there were divisions within the Democrat Party. I was just talking about how sometimes when Kamala Harris would come out to give public addresses, President Joe Biden would also go live on one media house or the other at the same time. So there were divisions there, and we know what happens when political parties are not united. But overall, a great show. I think overall, a fantastic outing. Kamala Harris may not be the winner. However, for somebody who started campaigning just 100 days ago, to the election without coming out of a party vote to become the presidential candidate, also kudos to her. She put up a good fight. But Donald Trump has been building for this day for many years before it came to her. So congratulations to the Americans on a great election.
A few key editorial points that need to be made, if I'm allowed to speak, because I don't like to be gagged, but I would like to make a few editorial points. First, congratulations to Kamala Harris. Even if the networks have not, run if they are not called the election yet, I think that it is already clear where the direction is going. Number one of the points we have to note, it's about the polls. Yesterday, as an associate fellow of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, I was at a symposium where we tried to look at this election, US election, and all of that. And Professor Egosa Osage was talking about the possibility of a self-fulfilling rule about polls. What we have seen in this election, the polls said, it will be close. It could go Kamala Harris' way. But we have seen that Trump has more or less, until it is declared officially, won both the popular vote and the electoral vote. So we have to be careful as students of political science about what we say about polls in the public arena, because this is a theoretical category and it requires basic education to understand how that, end of it works. Number three is that this has big implications. One of the issues we're talking about is implications for the world. Countries like Israel, South Korea, North Korea, Iran, Ukraine, Russia have not come to a point this morning when they have to worry about what is going to come next. because what we're dealing with is the return of Donald Trump, 45th president, 47th president of the United States. We wait until the election is called. But as I said, congratulations, to Kamala Harris. I think she has run so far a good race, in the swing states and everywhere. She energized the Democratic base. But the question is, what does the next 4 years, what will it mean for the world, global order? Is Trump a good call for the world? Is Trump a good call for the United States? But all of us who are concerned, including the people in northern Nigeria who have been flying American flags and shouting Trump, and who will tomorrow come up with Ashoebi, would they be in a position to say that Trump is good for the world? Thank you, Adefemi Akinsanya. You are doing a great job. Excellent.